Hello everyone, Abhishek here. Today we are going to talk about test in Postman. So I've created a small diagram here for us to understand. So whenever we send API request, this particular portion comes into picture. So we send a request, we get a response back. So just to explain the flow, when you talk about pre-request script in Postman, those are executed before the request is sent and the test come into picture after your response has been received. So this is the flow: first pre-request script and then request, then response, and then the test. Now let's take a look at Postman. So I have a new collection already. I'll just quickly create a request, and the API which we are going to refer is request response.in reqres.in. So let me open this. Now let me take any of the requests. So we'll take the first request, and I'll just copy this endpoint, and this is get. So I'll just paste it here. We'll click on send and it is working fine. Okay. So the test, you'll be able to look at this particular section called test. Okay. Let me minimize this little bit. So what exactly test is being used for? So whatever response we get, we want to validate that whatever response we are getting is correct or not. So that's where test come into picture. So that's why the flow is pre-request script, then your request, then your response, and then your test. Now you can write your test scripts in JavaScript. Now, if you do not have much knowledge about JavaScript, Postman offers this very nice snippet functionality. So if you scroll over here, you'll be able to see a lot of commonly used snippets already available. What are snippets here? Snippets are reusable code blocks which you can use in your test to perform your test. Okay, so let's take a look at few of these requests. So let's say this one, status code 200. We want to validate whatever status code is coming. So if I click on this, it will auto generate a code. Okay, now if you can see pm.test, that means postman.test, and then whatever you want to write. So status code is 200, then a function is there which is saying that we want to validate that the status is 200 or not. So let's first use this snippet as it is. We are expecting 200. Now if we run this particular request, we should be able to see something in test results which says that it is passed. So let's click on this and validate the result. So now if you see, the test result section is created. Now if you see here, it is saying status code is 200. Now let's say we want to validate some other status. So we can just tweak a few things here. Let's say I want to validate 201, and I'll mention 201 here. What will happen? Since the output is 200, okay, it is going to fail. So here if you see, status code is 201, expected response to have status code 201 but got 200. Okay, so this was one of the examples. Let's take another example to understand it better. So let's take this one, JSON value check. Okay, so if you see in the response, we are getting the response in form of JSON, and let's say we want to validate that page number is 2. Okay, now here if you see, it is postman.test and then whatever is your test name. So let's say we want to validate the page number. Okay, so I'll write validate page number, and I can just tweak here. So what the second line is doing is, it is actually parsing the response which we got in JSON file. This is just a JavaScript statement. Now here pm.expect JSON data.value. So in case of value, we need to replace it with whatever. So here if you see the structure, nothing else is there. This is the parent thing, so we can just write JSON data dot page here. Now equal to, we are trying to validate, it is 2. So here if you can see, it is 2. Let me write 2 here, and now if I run the request, it is going to validate that the page number is 2 or not. So let me click on this, and if you go and see into the test results, we'll be able to see validate page number, and it is green, it is a pass. Now let's say I want to validate 3, so it will obviously give a fail. We'll just quickly do this. So see, expected was 2 and we got 3. Sorry, expected was 3 and we got 2. Okay, now we'll just take a look at few others. So here you can see response time is less than 200 milliseconds. Now here we have the response time of 69 milliseconds, so ideally this should pass. Let's delete this and let's use the snippet. Now if I run this, if it is taking less than 200 milliseconds, it is going to pass. So let's see what we get the response. So yeah, response time is less than 200 milliseconds. Now we are getting somewhere around 6971. So let's do it 50. So this is going to give you the details of what was expected, what we got. Okay, so expected 52 to be below 50, that's why it failed. So we got 52 milliseconds. Similarly, you can use different snippets here. You can send a request, response time, successful post request, code name has a string, and a lot of different snippets are there. You can take a look at all of these. In case of fetching a variable, setting a variable, that we have discussed in our last video in pre-request script. So similar thing we can apply here. We can discuss about in detail on how to extract responses and create more complicated tests, but this covers the beginners part of working with the test section here. Thank you very much. Let me know if you have any feedback, and have a great day. Bye bye.